welcome to another edition of Wake and Bake News with your host, Shampoo VTA. Good morning. Music. There we go. How are you? This is episode number 25. I can't believe I've done 25 of these things. Still got some of this Master OG left. Really controlling myself here. Okay. First thing I was going to talk about this morning was actually a video that came up from one of the other YouTubers that I follow, which I thought was really interesting, and I have gotten some flack from my comment. It's YouTube. When do you not get flack? When do you not get flack? Okay. First, let's have our juice. Juice some carrot, pineapple, green apple, char, and marijuana leaves this morning. Skål. Seriously good. Oh me. Went on a really nice run yesterday. I'm starting to not just run downhill. Now I'm actually running on flat ground, and it's interesting. It's fun. It's interesting to do this thing with your arms, when you're running. It's kind of like, I like to call it the Tyrannosaurus Rex hands. Little Tyrannosaurus Rex arms when you're running. So that was super fun. So I'm really glad to have my juice this morning. I mean, I'm not a good runner. I've never been a runner. In high school, I would be like, I'll just sit here on the bench. And I would try to run, but it was extremely hard for me because I would get cramps, and I could just feel that my lungs had a limit to how, I couldn't get that deep, I don't know how to describe it, that you need for running. That, I would always start having problems. Well, pot smoking has completely alleviated all that stuff. Now I'm free to actually train. I mean, I wouldn't say I failed gym class, but I didn't like the running. Thank you. Oh, well, I'll put it here. Let's move these things. Somebody asked me in the comments if I live in a shed, practically. It's a small apartment, we own it. We own the duplex. Well, the family owns it, and we don't get to fix it. We get to live in it, but we don't get to fix it. We own it, but, don't get to improve it. I ain't gonna knock it. Ventura is an expensive place to live. This apartment would be almost like $2,000, like $1,800 a month or something if we had to pay for it. And the view is amazing. But yeah, I've lived here for 20 years, so it looks like it. I raised my son here, and he's moved out now. Not that I'm making excuses. Not everybody that owns property is like driving around in a Porsche. Some people have just normal real lives. Okay, let's get to the monitor capture off subject. Okay, here's Stony Sunday, and she's doing this road trip. So her live show this weekend wasn't actually a live show. It was her traveling in a car, which I was totally jealous. I love. It's boring, but it's also kind of fun. It's fun and meditative to ride it as a passenger in the car. I don't know about the driving part. She said it was really hot. So I'll put a link to her new video, which was really kind of cool. Let's see. Oh, aren't we moving? We need to move. Which direction was this young man's? Here it is. Okay, so this is the one I wanted to talk about first thing this morning. Right? Yes, good. Okay, this is called What Happens When My Children Find My Pistol. Now, apparently, this gentleman, I follow some of these gun guys and knife enthusiasts and stuff because I like to go camping and I like the equipment. I'm not really into their politics, but, I understand they're different than me. People are different. Some of them are really conservative. I don't know what to say. I'm more interested in some of the equipment that they have and their skills and stuff. I don't know if I'm that interested in their politics. But he seems like a very nice, sincere young man, okay? His name is Skinny Medic, and he's been doing a lot of really, in my opinion, supportive videos to help with, if you're going to create a medic kit for someone who's going out to, do one of these running guns. If somebody's shot, you want to know how to help them before the helicopter gets there. But these guys are extremely responsible, and many of them have been in the military. So whether I agree with their politics or not, I don't think they're inappropriate at all. Okay, so watch this video to find out what happens when my kid walks into a living room to find my Glock 43 sitting out. This was a hidden camera experiment, and the gun was made completely safe. My kids were in no danger. I have no doubt of that at any time. No, I have no doubt that your children were not in danger. I commented that I just have an immediate, as a person that worked in education, knee-jerk reaction to this of, oh, I don't like this. I don't like this. And yes, I have to say the first reaction I have is because it's a gun situation. Well, what if, okay, let's flip it around. Because, I was being honest, I'm being 100. As a person that worked in education, as a mom, my reaction is, what the hell are you doing? Leaving the gun out even to make a point. But let's say, as a pot smoker, I decide to leave my bong out. Or my dab rig, right? With my dabs in them, First off, I don't think the gun community would approve of such an experiment, whether it turned out dandy or not. And secondly, that maybe that'll help us to understand this young man's point of view. So he saw some sort of a special where they left guns out for children to find that had been, trained not to touch guns. And of course, when they thought no one was around, they were touching the guns. Now, I seem to remember seeing this. So he did it, and he's trained his children not to touch a gun. And you can easily see his reaction is immediately he knows, something's up. And he gets an adult as soon as he sees the gun. And my point was that as a scientific experiment, it's not, because it's only one sampling of the vast majority of children across the United States that have to deal with parents that own a gun. Now, I can tell you, as a child in the house with a parent that collected guns, and as soon as my father left the house, I knew how to unlock his guns, I knew where he had them hid, I knew how to handle them, and I knew how to pose in front of the mirror with my mom's cool Western holster and her Colt. Okay? And I would get her poncho on and my dad's cowboy hat, and I would stand there in front of the mirror in their bedroom, and I would play with this guy and pose. And, because I'm an artist. And for me, this was a way for me to be able to see it and hold it in my mind's eye so that later on I could draw that girl with the poncho pointing the gun, because, artists are supposed to, whatever we see, we just imprint it. It's almost really annoying. Yeah, and most people do it too. Like if you envisioned a banana peel in your mind right now, we all wouldn't see the same banana peel, but you would see one that you have seen in your experience. Okay, so that's what artists do. Okay, so I could totally understand this guy's point of view when he's trying to say that his kids are different and his family's different. Totally understand that, and that's obviously true. But I think that it's not a scientific sampling of the populace to prove this to be that this training actually does work. It works for his family. Let's put it to you that way. The other thing was, I don't know how excited I am as a person that worked in education about a dad that goes, So, you found my gun, huh? Well, that's okay because it was a test. And look, there was a camera right over there. That part I just have a major problem with. You have a trust relationship with your children, and to pull stuff like this, it's kind of like those video pranks they do on YouTube. It's not. You're playing with that trust system. So I'm sure Escaping Medic is a very responsible person. He seems like a very responsible person. And I'm sure he had that conversation with his children about why he did this and everything. But let's not base things that we do with our children on stuff we see on the news, is my point. First off, you're not going to make the point you want to make as clearly as you would like to make it. And secondly, you are kind of stressing that trust relationship that you have with your children. And you're taking a tiny bit of a chance there, And the other point was that as a person that grew up in a house full of guns that were locked away behind secret cabinets that my dad built like a catacomb, we found them. My idiot, neighbors actually even had like some bullets. They were in a tree dropping rocks on the bullet trying to get it to go off. Never could get it to go off. I was not there. I would have pounded their heads in. But, kids play with guns. I don't know how to explain it to you. And I mean, my father was extremely strict. Like belt strict, So I thought perhaps I would post this video for some of these, for other viewers to peruse and just, see what you think. In my opinion, there's nothing wrong with making a video like that. There's everything wrong with saying that this is an example of how that news report is inaccurate. That neither are accurate because neither are scientific sampling of children and their reaction to firearms and whether they want to touch them or not, I've seen grown men that can't help but touch toys. I mean, look at those police officers that broke into the dispensary in Santa Ana. They just could not help but touch and play with things like little children. And they're grown adults that have been trained not to do that. It's just my point. Okay, so CJ Live was on yesterday, and Soundrone came on, and they had a sesh, and that was really silly and funny. She's really super funny. They're both really super cute and funny. And I loved her emoji shirt. That's very much like the tights that I was into. And I like how it says, keeping it 100 in the corner emoji. I think keeping it 100 is a good thing to do. Just admit, oh yes, and Barack Obama, it's a video, of course, so I can't post it, but the entire internet world of news lost their minds yesterday because Barack Obama said the N-word, probably on purpose, on a radio program to garner, attract interest to what the point was he was speaking on, which is the way racism is today, and he's absolutely right. It's like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like hobby racism or something. You wouldn't talk that way in public, but in your families, you'd certainly be happy to just sit there and tear, groups down that are not within earshot. Why marijuana prices appear to be dropping in Colorado. This is a follow-up to yesterday's story about how marijuana prices are crashing in Colorado. Here's why marijuana prices appear to be dropping in Colorado. Move. It just won't move. It just holds still. The cost of getting high is getting lower. After about 18 months of legal recreational marijuana sales in Colorado, the market keeps getting bigger. And now a new survey shows that pot prices in Colorado are actually declining, even as the number of customers increases. Over the past year, the price for 1/8 of
we're interested in
what is this noise? Where is this evil? Where is this evil? Where is this evil? Stop the evil. Okay, is it stopped? Stop the evil. Oh, Oh, advertisers, how I hate you. Over the past year, the price of 1/8 of an ounce of recreational pot dropped as much as 40% in Colorado, according to a report from global brokerage services company Convex. Okay, Converdex. That's the best I can do. Which recently surveyed several marijuana dispensaries in the Centennial State. Convergex reported that the average price for 1/8 of an ounce dropped from between $50 to $70 last June to between $30 and $45. The price of a full ounce is now between $250 and $300, that's a nice place right there. After selling for roughly $300 to $400 a year ago. One reason the costs are getting higher the costs are getting higher is getting lower. Wait a minute. The cost of getting higher is getting lower. Okay, I guess that's a pun. Ha Time Magazine. You continue to be the dorkiest kid in the news hangout here. I made a joke. I swear to God, Time Magazine is like this dorky kid in your clubhouse. He keeps making these doofy, hot jokes, like with the rat on the cover. I mean, it's like, okay, there, Pee-wee, just keep it to yourself. Oh yeah, it's real funny, Pee-wee. Yeah. Over the past year, the price of one reason the cost of getting high is getting lower is because of increased competition from new dispensaries and the expansion of growing facilities. The limited number of dispensaries allowed to sell recreational marijuana during much of the first year of legal sales were able to keep prices relatively high. But prices have come down. It's because every time my husband leaves the room or goes out of sight, my bird freaks out. Where are you? Let's see. As more and more entrepreneurs get dispensary license and enter the market, at the same time, the report by Nicholas Colas, Convergex, I can't even deal with that name, it's so funny, chief marketer, strategist, notes that it is also a natural result for any maturing industry as dispensaries try to find the market's equilibrium price. He's right. Because sometimes prices are over evaluated. It was a bubble, kind of a bubble. And what created that? The artificial situation that prohibition has created. It's an artificial atmosphere to do business. The report also notes that while the number of customers dispensaries tend to see from day to day has remained fairly constant over the past year, the amount each customer spends is on the decline, with the diminishing novelty of legal recreational pods, possibly resulting in an increase in restraint among customers. Oh gosh, we just jumped a mile and a half away from the article. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, this is an ad. Oh, don't you know how much we hate you? You don't care, do you? You don't care. Where are we? What am I looking at? Where did everything go? Oh my god. Die, kill, die. Oh my god, I cannot get rid of this ad. It's so fucking horrible. Oh my god, this is so horrible. Oh, guy, that was so horrible. Oh, that was so horrible. That's all your advertising is just these horrible demon-like sounds and just jacking up, and I don't even see it anymore. I know there's stuff on the side, I don't even see it anymore. Advertisers, you are just, someone needs to help you. You have a mental problem. I want to read this some more, but it's Time Magazine, and God only knows how many more little ads are going to jump up in the middle of the paragraph. I mean, seriously, could you imagine if you were in school and you were trying to read a book report and advertisements suddenly appeared in between the paragraphs? I mean, I would be fit to strangle someone. I'd be fit to be tied. I'm serious. Oh, oh. See, that's how you know a newspaper site is garbage, and the Times it's garbage now because look at it, it's just stuffed, packed with these hideous banshee-like ads that just scream their nonsense from the bowels of hell at you. It's like, God, someone shut the door. Ugh. Dude, you need to chill. Harper loses in the Supreme Court yet again. This is a really funny little cartoon, and it's about how the Supreme Court voted in Canada to allow edibles and oils. And this conservative dude, Harper, that's been, I guess, battling, legalize marijuana, him and his conservative bunch of idiots, they got burned again because that's what's going to be happening over and over again. I guess if you enjoy that kind of thing, go right ahead. Like to get your ass handed to you over and over again. Darwin. That's how Darwin works. You're just a dinosaur. Okay, concentrates. What's on the market from Keef to BHO? HBO. It's funny. I thought this was really good that the cannabis did this, where they kind of do an overall recap of what concentrates are, and at the end, they added on the resin tech, which is like, ooh, that's cool. Concentrates. What's on the market from Keef to BHO? Go ahead. Part 1. Learn about the ways THC is extracted from marijuana, including the dry sift method for Keef, cold water hash, CO2 oil, butane hash oil, and the new rosin trend. So the Keef, the cold water hash, these kinds of things, they're using ice to basically knock, to freeze off the little trichomes that are like a glistening little droplets of oil. And then you just put the material on like a screen. Like here I have one in my grinder for all the non-stoner screen. And the little trichomes fall through the screen, and then your bud is left on top. And you're actually kind of reducing the potency of your weed by doing that and spreading it out. Because now you can use the key for cooking and use the marijuana for smoking or doing something else with, or you can make wax or oil, or it's just an interesting world. Though cannabis is generally has a learning curve, perhaps the most intimidating and mysterious aspect for new users is concentrates. When a customer walks into a medical dispensary or recreational shop looking to try something new, a query about concentrates often results in a barrage of unfamiliar terms, and he or she has little to no frame of reference for quality, dosage, except expected effects or ways to consume. The thing about unfamiliar terms also, this is the problem with specialized training. Okay, in the field of medical field, the field of doctors, you can have a podiatrist and you can have an ear and nose and throat doctor. And these two doctors, even though they deal with the human body and were probably trained in the same schools, will use a language that is uniquely their own because it is about their specialty. Educators do this. When I first came into the education field, I had to get used to all kinds of bizarre terms and understood the nuance of what they were actually trying to say, because they'll fit in terms, when they're actually trying to say something else, because everything has to be just so. Oh, that's good. So a lot of specialized things have specialized terms that most people do not understand. That's the part of the problem with specialization training. It's kind of almost better to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, unless, of course, you need a brain surgeon. Then you're in trouble. While images of people rolling up joints, smoking pipes or bongs, and eating trays of pot brownies are the primary images of cannabis consumption in the media, concentrates, for the most part, have only recently started to be seen on shows like Comedy Central's Broad City and Workaholics, making them the new kid on the block in terms of cultural representation. I think this would be an appropriate place to do a dab. About the concentrate. I have tiny droplets of concentrate left. This was very good. There's more of it. It don't take much. A little dab will do ya. I don't need very much of that golden elixir. Okay. This part, I'm not excited about owning the torches. I'm not excited about using butane torches. I wish, I could use something. And I don't like the vape pens because then you're charging batteries. I have enough batteries I have to charge. I don't need more. I have enough cables. I don't need more. Not that it uses a cable, but it's just more of that kind of thing. Batteries, cables, very aggravating. Okay. Concentrate. And this is a shatter, which means that when you put your little tool to it, it's going to break and go ping and shoot in a million directions. And then you'll go, oh, what happened? All right. The truth is that most new users have absolutely no idea how to consume something like the wax or shatter that is now common on store shelves. This series is intended to help educate and remove some of the mystery from the emerging aspect of the industry. The Complete Concentrate series, Part 1, What's on the Market, info about Keef, BHO, Water Hash, and others. Number 2, How should I smoke this shatter? Ways to consume concentrates. Number 3, Are concentrates right for me? On potency, expected effects, and more. Types of concentrates. Many known concentrates many know concentrates simply as hash, but some of what is in today's shops bear little resemblance to the traditional hand-collected, mechanically separated hash that has been produced for thousands of years throughout the world. Keef, also known as dry sieve, sometimes dry sift. Hash keef is the simplest of concentrates. Keef is composed of the trichomes and crystalline structures coating the outside surface of the flower, broken away from the dried plant material, usually via specialized filtering screens, and a little elbow grease, specialized filtering screens, a paint filter bag that you can go to a paint store and get. Keef is generally considered a lower quality extract, but some top flight extractors can produce an extremely clean and flavorful product using this method. THC content can range from 20 to 60%. This process is highest yield level yield nothing but the largest, most perfect trichomes, gland heads, and none of the gland stems. Plenty of matter, etc. Generally clouds the women. That generally clouds the quicker, lower quality keef extractions. While it is certainly available in Colorado dispensaries compared to 3 years ago, it is much harder to find because of the prevalence of solvent extracts and the low return that it provides to commercial growers. Water hash. There are various techniques used in the production of water hash, and the resulting products have many forms: bubble hash, solvent wax, ice wax, among others. The basic principle is that plant material, either dry or fresh frozen generally, is mixed with cold water and ice, then agitated manually or mechanically in order to break off the now brittle trichome heads. This solution is then filtered through specifically sized screens to remove anything undesirable, leaving behind a relatively pure finished product that typically tests about 50% to 80% THC. The most common way that water hash is extracted is using a series of microscreened fabric bags, generally referred to as bubble bags, which remove various grades of the product according to the size of particulates that they allow through. Yeah, Bubble Man sells bubble bags. CO2 oil. This variety of extract is created using carbon dioxide compressed at high pressure until it becomes what is known as supercritical fluid, which then is able to strip the essential oils of the cannabis plant, which, like hydrocarbon solvent CO2 oil, is generally a loose orange tinted oil that can be either clear or opaque, depending upon the finishing process used after extraction, and THC content tests about 50% to 75%. The appeal of this method for many is that it is non-flammable and contains no chemical solvents. The machine required to do a CO2 extraction at any kind of commercial scale can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah, that's what they show off at the Cannabis Cup. This is our closed loop CO2 system, I guess is what it's supposed to be. I don't know what closed loop means, but something like that. Butane hash oil, BHO. Perhaps the most common type of extraction on the market, BHO has a variety of names: wax, shatter, crumble, oil, earl, honeycomb, moon rock, nectar, etc. But like water hash, the basic principle of extraction are the same across all of them, with a variation in appearance and texture, most coming in finishing process. To make a butane concentrate, butane is pressurized in a vessel and washed over plant material, usually dry, but sometimes fresh frozen. More on that below. Then the result solution is collected. The hash maker must remove any residual solvent from the solution. So the next step generally is applying heat. Butane has a low boiling point, the vacuum, which lowers the boiling point further. In order to make this process easier and faster while retaining the highest amount of flavor, terpenes, and cannabinoids in the finished product, BHO generally tests between 60% to 90% THC, making it perhaps the strongest concentrate in the mainstream market. Now, probably my shatter is BHO, and like I was saying, BHO is made with these glass things that I bought to show as, And it looks like, oh, you could do this at home. Many people do, right? And you do this, and it goes through the plant, right? You shove all your plants in there, and you have a screen, and it goes through there, and it drips out on some plate, and then you're supposed to put the plate like on a hot plate, and at a very low temp, boil away the butane. Well, and I especially am not going to try that. But I thought it was interesting to own it, because one day it'll be kind of a, remember when we used to use these? It looks like a turkey baster. That's what I thought. Oh, I thought it was funny. But I thought it was important to kind of have one as part of my marijuana glass collection to show. I've never used the thing. I'm probably never, the whole idea is just gross to me. I'd rather have somebody else make it that knows how to purge all that out of there. Note, other hydrocarbons such as propane and hexane can also be used in much the same way as butane. Through the final product is different in color and flavor. When using different solvents, many manufacturers are starting to use blends of gases to create signature products tailored to their desired consistencies and flavor profiles. Also, when fresh frozen whole plants are extracted instead of dried plant material, that process is called live resin. Thank you for explaining that, because I always hear the phrase live resin and I did not know what that meant. Thank you. Rosin. The newest and hottest type of extraction on the market right now is rosin. Rosin is extracted from either dried buds, trim, or lower grade water hash keef. What is unique about rosin is that it can be made with nothing more than a hair straightener, which I just have mine to show you. A hair straightener. And your foot. No, just in pressing. Let's see. Parchment paper and some hand-applied pressure. When the material is smashed and heated quickly between the parchment sheets, it extrudes some of the essential oils present in the plant, resulting in a golden shatter or oil-like extraction that looks similar to processed high-quality water hash or even solvent-extracted shatter. Rosin is a fairly recent development, so its availability in dispensaries is still somewhat limited, as is data about its potency. But early reports on some rosin extractions have showed numbers between 50% to 70% THC, similar to that of high-quality water hash. Do you have other questions about the type of concentrates on the market? Let us know in the comments below. Yeah, the rosin tech thing is really great. I haven't had it work with all the different kinds of weed I've had, but if it is super keefy weed and crystally, it will definitely work. Just knock those crystals off with this and get yourself like maybe at like about quarter gram, half gram, and then press the keef in the parchment paper. And even better than that is if you can get those little cookie baking sheets, the rubberized sheet, and cut it into pieces and use that, because that's not a porous surface, so it won't absorb some of that oil into the fibers of the paper. Okay, that's the cannabis cup. Oh yeah, more about the Confederate flag, which I'm so glad so many people are seeing that. Why are we doing that? Walmart decides to stop selling Confederate flag merchandise amid uproar over a rebel banner. Retail giant Walmart has decided to stop selling Confederate flags, rebel flags, amidst a renewed uproar about a rebel banner, the company said in a statement. The move also comes in the wake of a racially motivated massacre as Emmanuel AME Church in Charleston last week, which left 9 people, including Pastor Reverend oh, what is this? Something crashing. Something's crashing. It's this ABC page. We never wanted to offend anyone on the product that we offer, spokesman Brian Nick said in a statement. We have taken steps to remove all items promoting the Confederate flag from our assortment, whether in our stores or our websites. I'll get off of this page since it's dumping on me. ABC's website, but isn't that interesting? Hello, what are we doing? On now. Hello. Oh, internet, you are so fun. Go, 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 go. Kill the page. Kill the page. Kill it. Tumblr. We just gotta find one of my little faces. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Was here we go. That's a Walmart story. Muse cooks up marijuana edibles. This is another story out of Canada. Canadian broadcaster CBC has picked up a film on marijuana edibles from Montreal headquartered Prodeco Muse Entertainment for a documentary channel. Prodeco? I don't know what that is. Production company? Okay, just say that. Titled Grass Fed, the Future Doc, directed by Montreal film Ezrael Sofferman, traces the legalization of marijuana edibles, first in California and Colorado, and most recently in Canada, where the Supreme Court in June legalized the use of marijuana edibles for medical purposes. The case for marijuana edibles, which includes cannabis-infused brownies, oils, and teas, among others, is illustrated in the film through Montreal actor and comedian Mike Peterson, pictured, who treats his debilitating back pain with marijuana and a hemp-infused diet. The film was shot in Montreal, Smiths Falls, Ontario, Los Angeles, Denver, and Cancun. Muse Entertainment specializes in both scripted and unscripted titles, and its factual offerings include JFK, The Smoking Gun, Sky Jumpers, and March to the Pole. When we first set out to make grass-fed, only dried marijuana was permitted for our patients, said producer Jess Purpose in a statement. We had to travel to Colorado and California to find legal edibles. Never did we imagine the Supreme Court would legalize edibles here in Canada. Too timing wise. We struck gold, and the film will integrate the court's decision ruling into story arc. So in Canada, I guess we should be looking out for this documentary Grass Fed about the history of edibles. It kind of sounds really interesting. Now, you do remember the story where the employee in Colorado was fired because he failed a drug test because he's a medical marijuana patient, correct? Now I'll read this headline. California court upholds emotional distress award due to unannounced random drug test. A California appellate court affirmed an award of emotional distress to two employees who felt pressured to submit to random drug tests. RO versus Legal Recovery Law Offices Incorporated, case number D065422, unpublished. California, I don't know what all those other things mean. Plaintiffs RO and O'Toole were employed as debt collectors by Legal Recovery Law Offices Incorporated. They had access to personal information of others, such as Social Security numbers and credit reports. Neither was subject to pre-employment drug testing. The company generally did not conduct any post-employment drug testing until the test at issue in October 2011. The employee manual was revised in 2011 to state that the company reserved the right to conduct drug or alcohol testing after an accident or with probable cause of impairment while on the job. In October 2011, Oro and O'Toole, along with others, were unexpectedly asked to take drug tests. This random test occurred on the heels of a complaint they lodged regarding unpaid overtime pay. They were told to execute consent forms, told to report to the public bathroom, and provide a sample. Oro objected. In response, a manager advised that his refusal would result in being sent home and the company would figure out what to do with him, inferring that this statement is a threat against his job. He consented, provided his urine sample in a public bathroom while someone watched. He apparently tested positive for marijuana but never was given the result of the drug test. Similarly, O'Toole, who was a cancer patient with a medical marijuana card, initially objected. Again, a manager told him his refusal would result in the company having to figure out what to do with him. O'Toole testified that he started to panic because he knew he was going to test positive due to his use of medical marijuana. He attempted to provide a urine sample while two men stood outside the bathroom stall, but physically could not. When he went back to his desk to drink more water, he learned his email account was blocked. He refused to submit to any further testing. Afterwards, he emailed his concerns to a supervisor, stating that he objected to the captive random drug testing, which he believed to be illegal, and the Gestapo standing outside the stall. Soon thereafter, O'Toole claimed work was diverted away from him. His production and compensation decreased, and he could not afford both his cancer medication and food. Ultimately, Aro and O'Toole were terminated several months thereafter, though allegedly not because of the drug test results. LO maintained that the drug tests were triggered by allegations of rampant drug use at the company and were voluntary. The company maintained that no adverse actions were taken as a result of the drug tests. Aro and O'Toole asserted claims for intentional infliction of emotional distress, among other things. After a bench trial, the trial judge awarded them approximately $15,000 each for non-economic damages and $1 in exemplary damage. I don't know what that means. Is that really $1? The Court of Appeal affirmed the trial court ruling. First, the court determined that the worker compensation exclusive exclusivity rule did not prevent Oro and O'Toole from recovering monetary damages for emotional distress. The court reasoned that the random drug test administered in this case violated a fundamental right to privacy, which is protected by the California Constitution, and therefore the employer could not hide behind the shield of workers' compensation. As debt collectors, Oro and O'Toole did not occupy safety and security sensitive positions, and so the random drug test was unreasonable and outrageous. The court also conducted that LR and LO's conduct was sufficiently extreme and outrageous to constitute intentional infliction of emotional distress because, one, there was no notice of the random unannounced drug test, and two, there was no individualized suspicion of Oro and O'Toole. When they objected to the testing, they were told they would they would be suspended and the company would figure out what to do with them. 4, they were required to stand in a line and sign a consent form in the presence of other employees. They were observed while providing urine specimens. They felt threatened and intimidated because they had complained about unpaid overtime, and they were never given their drug test results. Both Oro and O'Toole testified that they suffered several severe emotional distress, including anguish, nervousness, anxiety, worry, humiliation, and shame. California employers must be cognizant of the privacy issues implicated by suspicionless workplace drug and alcohol tests. Random testing in California will not outweigh employees. Privacy interests where the employees to be tested are not safety sensitive. Employers should review their drug testing policies to ensure that all drugs and alcohol tests comply with all applicable laws. That was a really interesting story that they won that case. They tried to use the drug testing as a way to basically browbeat them out of the job because they wanted fair compensation for the work they had done. This is, again, the story about President Obama swearing. Interesting. I like how it said, not in California. I'm sorry, but your employees' rights are not going to outweigh the individual employees. Not in California. I like how it just said that. Just straight up. Oh, where's the headline? Giant black pool in the center. How much does marijuana impact your driving? Remember yesterday I talked about how there was this, and this is again Time Magazine. Oh boy, I don't know how this is going to turn out. Remember I told you that they had put up the signs around my town that weed DUI is real, you know, like, ooh, Sasquatch is real. I don't know what they're trying to say. Okay, a new federal study has answers. A rigorous federal research study by the National Institute on Drug Abuse offers new data on the effects of marijuana on driving performance. The exact impact of marijuana on driving ability is a controversial subject, and it's become more important. States continue to loosen their drug laws, and while drug driving is on the decline in the U.S., driving after having smoked or otherwise consumed marijuana has become more common. According to the most recent National Roadside Survey from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, of weekend nighttime drivers, 8.3% had some alcohol in their systems, and 12.6% tested positive for THC, up from 8.6% in 2007. It is illegal in all states to drive under the influence of anything, but years of work went into establishing the 8.0 breath, uh, uh, let's see, wait a minute, 0.08 breath alcohol limit that exists in most states. The question is whether we can establish a similar threshold for pot. To find out, the study recruited 18 occasional cannabis smokers, 13 of them men between the ages of 21 and 37. The participants took 6 45-minute drives in a driving simulator, a 1996 Malibu sedan. You're kidding. You took 18 people to do this test. I'm about to hear malarkey, aren't I? Okay, moving on. Just starting to sound like malarkey. 1996 Malibu sedan mounted in a 7.3 diameter dome at the University of Iowa. Each driver tested a different combination of high or low concentrations of THC, alcohol, and placebos. To create a placebo, participants were given fruit juice with alcohol swabbed in the rim, topped with 1 milliliter of alcohol to mimic alcohol smell and taste. In other words, a placebo had alcohol in it. This is getting worse. This is getting worse all the time. Worse all the time. The researchers looked at 250 parameters of driving ability, but this paper focused on 3 in particular: weaving within the lane, the number of times the car left the lane, and the speed of the weaving. While alcohol and an effect on the number of times the car left the lane and the speed on the weaving, marijuana did not. Marijuana did show an increase in weaving. Drivers with blood concentration. Okay, so wait a minute. Let's go back to that again. While alcohol had an effect on the number of, see, why does it say that? While alcohol had an effect. Okay, let's just leave the while out. Alcohol had an effect on the number of times the car left the lane and the speed of the weaving. Marijuana did not. And then, of course, they add at the end, marijuana did show an increase in weaving. But these are caveats. These are the while and the marijuana did not show an increase. See, Time, you're just like the gooberous freaking magazine. You're like old people. We can read. We see this. It's lame. Okay, in other words, no, marijuana did not. The end. Drivers with blood concentrations of 13.1 THC and psychoactive ingredient in cannabis. See, they always put that psychoactive ingredient in cannabis, showed increased weaving that was similar to those with a 0.08 breath alcohol concentration, the legal limit in most states. Okay, so similar to those. Similar. Notice it says, this is, listen to the Trixie in this. Listen to the Trixie. It was similar. Really? Because I don't remember scientists ever saying, this is similar. This is similar. That is not a scientific, like, this. First off, how many people did we test? Like 18. That's not a scientific sampling. Okay? And then it's like occasional smokers. Seriously, I don't know what to do for these people. I am seriously concerned for them. They are like children in the wilderness. We're going to be able to also use these numbers against you because you're saying how many people are showing up with marijuana in their system that are getting in trouble for, drug driving. And it's actually, they have also alcohol, which is probably impairing them more. What you're actually letting us know is how many more people are ingesting marijuana. Now it's becoming legal. You guys are so stupid. Oh my God. Okay. Let's just finish up with their BS and see what they have to say. Smoking pot while drinking a little alcohol increases THC's absorption, making the high more intense. What? Similarly, THC delays the peak of alcohol's impairment, meaning that it it's like what it's a magical substance that here again, this sounds like it's a stepping stone drug thing. I'm hearing the stepping stone drug argument in this Time magazine. Oh my God, you're like feeble. You're feeble. I'm serious. Your prohibitionist thinking is feeble. Okay. THC delayed the peak of alcohol impairment, meaning that it intended to take longer for someone using both to feel drunk. Such data is important to educate the public that no, it is not education. This is hokery. Hokum is what this is. Okay. I think this has added really good knowledge. No, it hasn't. I'm leaving. This is ridiculous. I should have seen when it was Time magazine it was going to be a joke. Seriously, you are Pee-wee in the clubhouse, man. Shut up, Pee-wee. Okay, I don't care what your mom and dad told you. Okay, your family is a bunch of idiots. Okay, you're lucky you let us. We let you hang out with us, man. You're such an idiot. Time magazine. Oh my God, a periodical. It's like you could just hear the bullshit. We tested 18 people in a parking lot in a shitty piece of car in 1996 that hasn't been realigned, and lo and behold, they swerved. I'm sorry, I can't. Oh, no, Ash, that one. That was the end of all my stories. Gosh, that was so lame. Seriously lame. Let's see what else is on here. More time. Go away, time. You're the stupidest. How does marijuana impact your driving? See, even Weed Porn Daily found it. I know it stinks. This article stinks. Okay, I'm gonna like watch me do this. So I'll repost it, but I'm gonna say this. Now you get to see me not spell. It'll figure it out for me. I can't believe I spelled one thing right and the other one articular. Okay, this story. Let's just go. BS. Let's put it to you that way. This BS stinks, and this is not science. It is boom. There you go. There's your sign. There's your sign. God, that was so stupid. I'm not saying it doesn't impair you to some degree. What I am saying is that is just hokum monokum right there. That's not, this is, money. They want some money. You don't want to tell people in a bar, hey, if you drink, you won't get home, okay? But if you smoke some pot, you might be fine. Because the alcohol companies don't like that line. Seriously, who's paying for this study? Let me guess who it is. Let me guess who it is. Who wants to drag down marijuana with alcohol because alcohol's scared that the truth is now going to come out and people have an alternative. Oh no, Zeus, what's going to happen? Oh, I can't wait for that. When does alcohol not deserve this? Seriously. All those stupid football commercials, football stadiums filled with people drinking like fish. It's an aquarium of beer. And I'm not against drinking, but most of that stuff is crap. It's not even good beer. It's like after Prohibition beer, it was Budweiser, watered down beer from Prohibition time that not even like real Germans or Scottish people would have drank. But half the country drinks it. It's bizarre. More like sugar water. tickling all of your innards is what it's doing. See, alcohol knows that the comparison between marijuana and alcohol is coming, and it's coming to all these wine tasting places in California. So they're going to pull this. Oh, drunk driving. Doop-a-doop. Try to save these last little dab. Okay, KB, so I guess that's the end of my news for Tuesday. Gonna go off and practice guitar again today. Finish my vegetarian burrito that was heated up a while ago I haven't had. So you get out and do something healthy for yourself and enjoy the summer, you know, while it's here. Hopefully the weather's good for you. I saw that one of the guys I follow had a tornado warning last night. Super scary. I guess it's that time of year. I know across the country, this is when the tornadoes start up around, you know, July and August is when things start up over there. So good luck to you guys and stay safe. You know, it's scary. I was near a tornado once. I was terrified. I was within a mile of a tornado. No, that was not a good experience. That was major panic time. We were traveling actually in Colorado. Broke down in Lyman or Lima, someplace like that, and had to have the Volkswagen bus fixed. And, you know, in the middle of the night, it was really rainy and stormy and everything. And then when we started to hear these sirens, and I was like, I was hiding behind the bed. I mean, because the hail was hitting the window. I thought I was going to break the window. My mom's laying in bed reading. She grew up in Indiana, and she's like, oh, this is nothing. I grew up in Indiana. We'll be fine. You know, and then we hear like people running up and down the hallway, and someone's pounding on the door, and they're like, tornado. Should have seen us fly out of that room in our PJs. And we all went down to the middle of the hotel, like where we thought would be the safest, near the pool area. But it was all glass windows and a pool, and I was there with my son. And I started to really panic, you know. And this lady, next to me, she was like a grandmother, and she had her grandkids, her two grandkids. And she looked at me and she goes, and I must have been about 24. And she says, never let your child see you afraid. And I reined it in right there. I looked at her like words of wisdom from everything will be fine. But inside I was freaking out, but I knew she was absolutely right. And I've said it to other moms, never let your children see you afraid, you know, because it will really frighten them because they look to you. And I didn't realize, I was a young mom at the time, that, you know, my young son is watching me have a panic attack, and that will imprint on him. So I was like, nope, you know, bring it in. Afterwards, the people in the hotel told us that a tornado had hit a couple of years earlier and went through like the mobile home park and killed some people. And I was like, that's just time to go. This was a nice visit. Time to leave. Oh, tornadoes are scary. But my mom's right. She grew up around tornadoes, so they don't hit everybody. But when they do hit, it's like really horrible, horrible. Just remember that bug out bag concept I talked about, an emergency bag with backup reading glasses and medication that you need, or vitamins, or, you know, whatever it is that you need, an inhaler if you need that, your weed, whatever it is, some clothing, shoes. I found shoes very important because there was a fire in our family and people had to run out in the, like 6 o'clock in the morning in their PJs, no shoes on, and then the whole, like half the house burned up. and you can't go back inside. After they put it out, they're like, nope, you can't come back in here. Everything in here, you just got to write off. And they give you a blanket that says Red Cross and see you later, you know. I mean, it's scary. So you want to have a bag you can grab so at least you have something. You're not having to run out to Thrifties the next morning and rebuild your whole life at a hotel somewhere. Ooh, scary. Oh, that kind of thing just makes me nervous thinking about that. Ooh. Anyway, so you take care of yourself and stay safe out there with all the tornadoes and everything coming this summer. Ooh, don't like that idea. And stay high and goodbye, man. Take it easy. See you tomorrow.